Hi, Jonathan York from Bay Financial Partners, looking at investment markets. Still pretty interesting times out there. It's quite interesting to see oil has come back quite a bit now. As it was pushing up around sort of $50 a barrel. Supposedly the sort of supply-demand imbalance was looking at coming back in the favour of actual demand rather than supply. So we're actually going to be consuming more. But obviously, as oil prices did start to rise, then you get a little bit of uncertainty out there. But also as well, drilling has sort of started on some of these wells that they have been sort of capped off recently as prices had fallen. So as prices did start to rise, you did see a little bit of an increase in supply. Elsewhere though, certainly earnings season it's been reasonably okay in the US. The market's sort of holding a reasonable bid, and it's sort of interesting that of the companies that are out there and sort of changing their guidance, about 80% or just over have been increasing guidance for our third and fourth quarter rather than reducing it. So it's the sort of earnings season, sort of first quarter started off on a pretty rough patch, but we are seeing a little bit of improvement coming through as we head into the sort of second half of the year. And that's really been supported by the data out there. You've still got a pretty strong economy in the US. New home sales and housing starts sort of coming through. And it's really being supported by, say, a pretty strong labour market, but also obviously the continued low interest rates. And it's just going to be interesting now to see, if this data does still continue to be on the sort of strong side, to see whether the Fed will actually look to move towards year end. Obviously just finished the Republican convention. Mr. Trump gave his speech, and some pretty broad brushstrokes out there, but not really a lot of detail on how he's going to attack certain issues. And it's just going to be interesting to see, certainly on his sort of tax policy and the the sort of plans for the economy to get the US working and jobs coming back to the US, to see how they're actually going to be put into place. A little bit closer to home, obviously New Zealand's still pretty interesting. You've got still a very sort of low interest rate environment, and the talk is that the economy's still a little bit on the weakish side. There will be a further rate cut in August to take the OCR down to 2%. Obviously, that has some pretty major implications out there for savers. Term deposit rates falling all the time, but also the bonds being issued out there as well. Most of them are coming in at around sort of 4% or below, and these are for terms of maybe 7, 8, or even 10 years in the case of Auckland City Council. That's a long time to have your money invested at a pretty low interest rate, if you believe that interest rates will increase. Also out there's some interesting offers for shares as well. There's one particular one, Acacia, that have got an offer out there to pick up shares. One of the shares they're interested in is Heartland Bank. Now it's quite interesting. They do state that there will be no brokerage on the deal, which is true, and they're going to offer to pay $1.40 for the shares. Shares are currently trading around sort of $1.28 to $1.30 odd. But it's interesting that the actual offer they make is going to be spread over 10 years. You're going to get 10 equal installments. So if you look at the case of Heartland, you're going to basically get 14 cents back for the next each year for the next 10 years. But obviously you're signing over your dividend. The dividends on those shares at present are around sort of 11 or 12 cents. So really you're just getting pretty much your dividend and a couple of cents more each year for the next 10 years in handing over your shares. Obviously not a particularly good deal for the investor. And certainly if you do get any of these pieces of paper coming through the letterbox or emails, and you are unsure, call us on 0800 867 323. So looking for income options in New Zealand, so that there are plenty of options out there. Some reasonably good quality shares out there. They're still paying some pretty reasonable dividends. In certainly electricity generation, power companies, even Heartland Bank, paying a pretty good dividend there around the sort of 10% level. So if you're interested in discussing those options, call us on 0800 867 323 or go to the website www.bayfinancialpartners.co.nz for lots of interesting articles. We look forward to speaking to you soon.